Hey GBA fans, I'm Choice CJ, back again with another week of the Game of the Week video and also our weekly look at the Season Award Watch. And finally, I am happy to announce that I am joined by a new co-host, and it is none other than Jamesanity.
Hey guys, it's Jamesanity, and I'm super excited to be here with Choice CJ to bring you Game of the Week and the Season Award Watch.
Awesome, cool, yes, I'm very happy to have you on here. We're going to have a lot of fun discussion, a lot of fun debates. And, of course, now that we are back with another co-host, it is long overdue that we have another guest onto this show to help us decide which Pokemon game is going to be the Game of the Week. And this week we are inviting Bill Standish, our Pivotal Moments host, to come and join us. Say hello, Bill.
G'day, my name is Bill Standish. Hoping you guys are having a pretty good day, because I myself am having a great day being here on Game of the Week.
Awesome, cool. Well, you're definitely going to be telling us which game is the most important here, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you pick mine because I think that this one is a pretty great game. Probably the best game of the season, if you ask me. But I'm sure James will try and argue otherwise. I'm going to select for my game of the week the New Orleans Pelipers versus the Utah Jasmine. This is the third week in a row that I'm picking a Cooper game, which, you know, it's not intentional by any means. And I like Cooper. I wouldn't describe myself as a Cooper fanboy, but
I would.
yeah, I'm sure you would describe me as that. But it just seems kind of inarguable that this was the closest game this week. It was a 1-0 victory in favor of Cooper. And it just seemed like the entire game, all of the hacks was going against Cooper. And there were lots of moments where it looked like John was really taking control. The Scarf Tapu Bulu being able to come in and revenge the Manaphy was a huge deal. It was actually the second week in a row, I think, that Cooper tried to call a bluff on a Scarf and ended up losing a Mon for it, basically. And the Melodic ended up stopping a potential Scrafty sweep. The Scrafty had set up to +2/+2 with Dragon Dance, but Melodic was able to get a haze off on it after taking huge damage from High Jump Kick. And kind of funnily, because the Melodic was poisoned by the Golbat, on the Jasmine's side, that is what activated his Marvel Scale and actually allowed it to live the hit. And then, even in the end game, when things were starting to look in Cooper's favor, he got off a Trick Room with his Reuniclus, started doing good damage with the Scrafty. It looked like John was going to be able to squeak it out because he got a crucial flinch on the Sneasel. But at the end of all of that, the Golbat comes in versus the Sneasel on the very last turn of the game, takes a big Icicle Crash and lives with just a sliver of health, and is just enough for it to get off a Heat Wave. And if that Heat Wave had missed, the Golbat obviously would have either died on the next turn, or rather it would have gone down to burn on that turn. So, there's just so many great moments for me, and I couldn't go with any other option, even if it makes me seem like I'm like the biggest fanboy of Cooper of all time.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on some points there, but the one thing why I didn't pick it for my match of the week was the abundance of hacks, especially in John's favor. As you mentioned, the crucial flinch with Sneasel's Icicle Crash really prevented it from being in Cooper's favor, more like a 3-0, 4-0, and endless crits and 3 burns just kind of salted up the match for me, and I really couldn't enjoy it as much as I probably would have if the hacks hadn't been there. I will agree with you that it was very back and forth. It looked like John could have won at any moment. However, he looked like he could have won at any moment simply because he got a lot of burns and a lot of crits.
Yeah, I can't help but make the joke about Tom Brady and all of the crits and all of the burns. It sounds like Tom Brady the Melodic's deflating some Pokeballs out there. But anyway, yeah, those are points well taken. For sure. Bill, do you have anything to weigh in on this match?
Well, unlike you, CJ, I would classify myself as a Cooper fanboy. And especially in watching the videos of both coaches, Cooper really seemed like he was in control. Even when he was getting hacked, it looked like he really had a good hold on the game. John also thought he was in control for the most of the game, so it was good to see both the back and forth from that. But I did really enjoy watching both of the sides of those games. And to be honest, I would say that's probably one of my favorite games. So, James, you got to do some real convincing for your game.
Yeah, well, I guess that provides us with a good segue into the second segment here. James, tell us about your game of the week.
All right, so my match of the week is probably going to be a bit controversial, and everyone is going to hate me for this. But I chose the Philadelphia Scissors, coached by Chimpact, versus the Borussia Donphan, coached by Lars. A lot of people would say that this match was hacksier than the Cooper versus John match, but I really don't agree. The 2 bits of hacks, the Primarina getting frozen early into the game, and the crit on the knockoff to the Lucario, they both really didn't matter. Primarina getting frozen, it didn't really matter, as Scald is a move, it exists, and you can click it, and it nullifies freeze. And Lucario would have just guided to Gigavolt Havoc anyway. I ran the calcs. Even with its 132 defense and 12 HP, it still did not live a Gigavolt Havoc Wild Charge from the Thunderous. Looking at this match, Huron Black was a really weird switch-in Latias, but I understand why it was made, because the Thunderbolt was really obvious, and if the Thunderbolt was made, then he could have lived a Dragon Pulse with the Haban Berry and killed the Latias. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolt was not clicked, and the Huron Black ended up going down. The Rotom Heat was in on Azumarill, and the Azumarill knocked off the Pasho Berry, which I found was really crucial, seeing as the knockoff to the Pasho Berry meant it couldn't live a Aqua Jet anymore. So the Azumarill just got to take out the Rotom Heat. But this match wasn't all Chimpact. Magearna come in around last, and killed both the Thundurus, the Azumarill, and unfortunately died to an outspeeding Dugtrio due to a bit of misprep on Lars's part. So, CJ, do you have any rebuttals on that?
Yeah, so I liked the fact that this was also a back and forth match. In the beginning, I think Lars was really in control, and then on that turn that you mentioned where the Rotom got its Pasho Berry knocked off, things really started to go back into Chimp's favor, because then the Nihilego came in, and the Fortress came in to spin away the hazards. The Fortress was able to do a good job of keeping the hazards off the field. And then when that Magearna came in, things went back into Lars's favor, and I think that if it, like you mentioned, if it wasn't for the Magearna not being EV to outspeed Dugtrio, that Lars was in position to win. But part of the reason that he was in position to win there, part of the reason it swung back into his favor, was because Chimp, I think, kind of choked. And I know that that's kind of like a loaded word, but he should have clicked the knockoff on the Azumarill in order to knock off the Choice Scarf from the Magearna. Because if he had just made it max speed on the Magearna, he would have been able to kill the Dugtrio too, and Lars should have won the game. So I thought it was a good game, but I thought that part of the reason it was as close as it was because Chimp didn't really execute well at the end. He didn't play really well at the beginning either, but I think you have to give some of the early struggles of Chimp, you have to give some of that credit to Lars, being able to burn the Con Berry on the Volcanion, being able to burn the Haban Berry on the Kyurem. Those were just, partially good plays from Lars. But yeah, I just didn't think Chimp was on his A game, and so I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite game this week. Bill, you want to chime in with your comments?
Well, I personally really, of course, loved this game, and I think Lars, despite all the hacks at the start, he really was in control at the start of the game, and then close to the end of the game, when of course his Nihilego didn't have HP Fire, wasn't able to stop the rapid spin. Right at the end there was a few turns where Chimpact went from thinking he wasn't going to win to just winning, and I agree with the knockoff play, but even when it happened, I think he was quite surprised that he did win. So I think he clawed it back, but he was, he wasn't aware that he was doing it. But I think it was a really entertaining game to watch because both, the prep that they both had deemed to be very, very effective. And I love seeing when prep, of course, works in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got two pretty good games on our hands. I know which one I think is better, but it's definitely a close race. And this is the part, Bill, where you are going to tell us which one is better. Is it the Pelipper's versus the Jasmine, or is it the Scissors versus the Don fan?
Well, it's a very hard decision. I, of course, went into this like having my opinions on the game that I thought was the best, and sadly, if there was 3 games brought up, I would put this third just to make Cooper happy. But I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Utah Jasmines versus the New Orleans Pelicans. I think that was a great game, and I think it's a great way for Cooper to head out. Of course, he's inviting Necro into the season, but I think that's gonna have to be my favorite for the week.
All right, sweet. Well, James, sorry, the first episode did not go your way, but hopefully this is only the beginning for you. You get to get some nice decisions in your favor later this season.
Oh, it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning.
With that now settled, let's move on to the next segment, which is our season award watch. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off with a discussion on our offensive mon of the season. Now, you're going to see some familiar faces here. We have a couple of sort of newcomers that we're going to mention in a more of like a dark horse category. But to kick things off, I did want to mention Cobalion. Cobalion didn't actually come to week 4 of the GBA Season 7, but it is still our leading kill getter, and it got 2 kills week 1, 4 kills week 2, and 3 kills week 3. So if you ask me, nothing, just because it wasn't brought doesn't mean that it's not deserving of being in the top spot. Then following up right behind that, we again have Volcanion, which got another kill this week. I think up to this point it had gotten 2 kills in every week. This time it only got 1, which is a little unfortunate. So it didn't do quite as well, I guess, but when your standard is 2 kills a week, it's hard to always live up to that. But yeah, it's just doing so great. It's applying a lot of pressure, and Chimp has only brought Specs Volcanion once, and that to me is like the best set. So the fact that he's being sort of, I wouldn't call it creative, but he's able to make other sets work is pretty cool, because I think a lot of players would struggle to do that. And finally, the last Pokemon is going to be Terrakion. Terrakion is another Pokemon that did not appear in week 4, but it's hard to punish it for that. And for that reason, I'm going to leave it in the discussion here. Terrakion is just such a dangerous wall breaker. He brought that really potent Choice Band set against Gator, the infamous 7 Stone Edges, I know. But even on its own, whether it's a Swords Dance set, a Rock Polish set, or it's a Z-Move set, Terrakion is just going to be breaking walls all season long. James, do you want to mention some of our other options for this category?
Yes, we have a few other options that we have that aren't as obvious, but they should still be considered anyway. First, we have Crocodile of the Detroit Steel Wings. It got off a very impressive sweep this week. It got 6 kills, though not all at the same time, but just because it performed well in one week doesn't mean it's going to perform well in every week, so we have to keep an eye on that. I also have Scrafty of the Utah Jasmine. It killed 2 Pokemon and practically killed a Milotic while being burned, so that's a lot of credit towards that, but I can't really see it doing too well in the upcoming weeks. It could very well be an offensive threat, but it hasn't really gotten off any big sweeps yet. And lastly, we have Landorus Incarnate from the Free State Torracats. It's got a decent amount of kills and a decent performance level, but Duncan really needs to step up when it comes to variation for his Landorus if we really want to see it rise to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think in general I would agree with that. I think we've seen mostly Scarf Lando from Duncan, which is certainly a good set, but Lando Eye, the beautiful thing about it is it does have Swords Dance as an option, it has Calm Mind, it has Rock Polish. You could run a Choice Band set, so there's lots of things you could do. And I think if Duncan can really untap that potential, it'll return it back to the top of this discussion. So, alright, let's now move into our defensive Pokemon of the season category. James, why don't you kick us off?
Firstly, we have Milotic of the New Orleans Pelipers. It stopped a Scrafty sweep this week and has performed well in all previous weeks. And we also have Zapdos of the Utah Jasmine making its return. Both Milotic and Zapdos have been at a very high performance level when it comes to defenses, and have really been on the top of their game, and so have their coaches, for that matter. Third, we have Fortress from the Philadelphia Scissors, also from the third Game of the Week episode. Fortress was brought this week, and it did put in quite a bit of work. It was one of the 2 Mons left on Chimp's team when he won. And lastly, we have Porygon 2 of the San Jose Sharpedos. It did not come week 4, but I felt like mentioning it simply because of the fact that it's put in a lot of utility work and defensive work throughout the previous 3 weeks where it was brought. So yeah. CJ, do you have a coach of the season?
Yeah, I do. So this is going to be another carryover from week 3. At this point, I cannot see any other coach being worthy of this right now. That coach is going to be Monotui, coach of the Tampa Bay Lux Rays. He had another nice victory this week. It was a little bit closer than some of his other weeks. It was only a 2-0 victory over Florida Gators, coached by Gator. I really liked the Greninja set. It was a Specs Greninja, if I'm not mistaken, and it just really it outsped everything on Gator's team, and really punished that. And he has a really interesting matchup next week. He is going to be going up against George, aka Septile MC of the San Francisco Arcaniners. This might be the best chance of that anyone has of knocking Mono off of his undefeated season so far. Just because we all know how talented George is. He is obviously the defending champion, and he's known to have a trick or two up his sleeve. So if that match might end up changing the discussion on who the coach of the season is. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a match that I'm definitely looking forward to. What do you think, James?
It's a match I'm very much looking forward to as well. As you said, it's the best chance anyone's got, probably, of knocking Mono down from the undefeated pedestal that he's on right now. And if anyone can do it, it's going to be George.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, always as you guys are watching this video, keep in mind that we are still very early in the season, although I guess we've now passed the 33% mark. We are 4 weeks into our 12-week season, so things are starting to shape up a little bit, but there's still a lot of Pokemon left to be played, so these spots are all still highly variable, and we do hope that you guys enjoyed the discussion. And with that is going to bring a close to our Week 4 episode. James, it's been a pleasure. I'm highly looking forward to working with you in future weeks. Do you want to go ahead and say goodbye to our adoring fans?
Goodbye. I hope you don't hate me too much for not choosing Cooper's last match as my match of the week, but
I hate you for
it. Bill, would you like to say anything to the fans?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for having me on. It's been fun, it's been real, and I've enjoyed it. Good luck to any other analyst that comes on, and thank you for watching.
We'll mention, as we do at the end of every video, that you should subscribe to the GBA channel to keep up to date on all of the other analyst videos that are coming out, such as Bill's series, The Pivotal Moments. You can keep up to date on power rankings, fantasy, weekly recaps, everything else. And we do strongly encourage you guys to go check out all of our coaches, and that will allow you to get notifications in your sub box when these weekly matches come out. So that'll do it for us. My name is Choice CJ, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.